Disclaimer. This video and all content within are intended for entertainment purposes only. The views, opinions, and narratives presented are speculative in nature and should not be taken as factual or legal advice. Viewer discretion is advised. Nobody expected Sean Diddy Combs' empire to take such a brutal nosedive, but while federal agents raid mansions and prosecutors build a racketeering case, one voice keeps echoing through every headline. Gene Deal, the towering ex-bodyguard who once moved through bad boys' inner circles like a silent guardian. For months, Deal has unloaded story after story, each new clip sharper, darker, and more unbelievable than the last. Is he a long-silenced witness finally unchaining the truth, or an opportunist capitalizing on hip-hop's biggest scandal? Tonight, we sift through his 8 most explosive revelations, separating what's documented, what's rumor, and what still lurks in the fog. Come closer, because once you hear these accounts, it may be impossible to look at Diddy or rap history the same way again. But first, remember, many of these claims remain unverified. Lawsuits are still active, investigators are still digging, and Diddy, despite the avalanche of accusations, maintains his innocence. Treat every allegation as just that, an allegation. With that on the record, let's begin. Gene Deal's first firebomb lands on March 9, 1997, the night Brooklyn lost its crown prince. Official reports say the notorious B.I.G. was gunned down in a classic West Coast drive-by. Deal swears that version is wrong. According to him, the shooter's Impala wasn't rolling. It was parked at the corner outside Peterson Automotive Museum all night, engine idling, lights dimmed, gunman waiting like a hunter at a watering hole. Deal describes an eerie dread creeping up his spine hours before shots rang out. He claims he tried to reroute Diddy's entourage but was overruled by party hop fever. Minutes later, 4 rounds tore through Biggie's SUV. Deal says he yanked the rapper's limp body from the rear seat, blood pooling under flashing streetlights. And here's where his story twists the knife. I did everything in my power so the bullet wouldn't find Puff, he recalls. But destiny chose Christopher Wallace instead. The detail, a stationed shooter, not a rolling ambush, contradicts every biopic and many LAPD summaries. Could it be a memory warped by trauma? Could it signal coordination deeper than rival rap bravado? Deal's certainty raises eyebrows, and a bitter question. If the killer lay in wait, who tipped him off to Bad Boy's route? Still, Deal insists this wasn't a random act but a surgical strike, and it won't be the last time he claims to smell death before it arrives, because the very next power play, he says, involved baseball bats and corporate blackmail. Fast forward to late 1997. Bad Boy Records is on the brink of a massive distribution deal, but there's a hitch. President Kirk Burrowes owns 25% of the label and won't sign away his share. Enter Diddy, flanked, Deal alleges, by 2 souvenir-sized baseball bats swiped from a Yankees giveaway. In Deal's version, the mogul corners Burrowes, threatens a long ride in the trunk, and demands the signature that will shove every chip into his own stack. Deal claims a similar threat was leveled at Vibes editor Daniel Smith after negative coverage. While Burrowes ultimately folded under pressure, Smith refused, and history records Diddy's furious public meltdown at the magazine's offices. But Deal insists the intimidation wasn't just heated words, it was choreographed fear, complete with props that looked harmless, until they weren't. Critics argue Deal never produced photos, texts, or audio to corroborate the trunk threats. Yet court filings do show Burrowes relinquished his stake in a lopsided settlement. Whether mini bats were involved or not, Bad Boy's ownership changed hands overnight, and Clive Davis locked the deal that minted Diddy's first $100 million. But corporate muscle games are child's play next to the whispers circling Diddy's longtime partner Kim Porter, and Gene Deal says those whispers began months before her tragic death. Kim Porter's 2018 passing stunned fans. Official cause, lobar pneumonia. Deal, however, paints a tableau dripping in ominous foreshadowing. In his telling, no homicide unit ever combed the bedroom where Porter was found. Her phones and laptop vanished. A masseuse appointment, a strange indulgence for a woman supposedly wheezing with severe pneumonia, took place just hours before her heart stopped. Then comes Deal's most chilling soundbite. Somebody ordered a custom gold casket 2 months early. He admits he can't prove the invoice. Yet for conspiracy-weary listeners, the timing felt too uncanny. Why would anyone pre-purchase a lavish coffin for a healthy 47-year-old mother of 4. The rumor collided with a spike in internet sleuthing once federal agents stormed Diddy's homes in 2024, reigniting speculation that Porter knew secrets or had evidence now central to the trafficking investigation. Medical examiners stand by pneumonia. Deal says the story never sat right. Maybe grief warps timelines. Maybe coincidences pile up. Either way, fans began asking whether Kim's silence carried a permanent price. Still, nothing rocks hip-hop mythology harder than Deal's next anecdote, one that drifts from Los Angeles to South Central, just months before another visionary's untimely end. Deal recounts meeting Nipsey Hussle at a studio gathering where the Crenshaw entrepreneur pitched Diddy on executive producing his next album. Nipsey, Deal recalls, admired the cinematic aura of Biggie's life after death and said he wanted his own project to feel exactly like that. Within months, Nipsey felt a gun violence outside his Marathon store. Deal interprets the request as eerie foreshadowing. "You gotta watch what you say to these demons," he claims, sliding into biblical cadence. In reality, Nipsey's murder was later pinned on a known acquaintance, and no link to Diddy ever surfaced. Still, the anecdote fuels online chatter. Was Nipsey courting a blessing or a curse when he sought a blueprint from hip-hop's most infamous posthumous album? Deal's takeaway is cautionary. Words have power, and aligning with powerful titans can twist destiny in ways no artist anticipates. Speculation? Absolutely. But for fans already suspicious of Puff's proximity to tragedy, the coincidence lands like thunder. And if that thunder unsettles you, brace yourself, because the next rumor drags a teenage Usher into the shadows, and the details are almost too disturbing to repeat. Usher was barely a teen when he lived under Diddy's roof during the early Atlanta meets New York talent incubator days. Deal admits he never met the young singer, but says he overheard an alarming hallway conversation. Puff sent that kid to the hospital, bleeding from the butt. Deal stresses this was second-hand gossip, not eyewitness testimony. Yet in the current climate, the phrase detonated across social media. Supporters argue it's hearsay weaponized by trolls. Critics insist the sheer volume of similar allegations suggests a pattern. Usher himself has never accused Diddy of abuse. Still, as lawsuits mount from other alleged male victims, the rumor grows legs. Why share it at all? Deal claims transparency. He separates what I saw from what I heard, hoping the public can connect dots or discard them without him. But the imagery is brutal, and once spoken, impossible to unhear. Family should be sanctuary, right? Well, Deal's next bomb suggests even that boundary collapsed, and the alleged taboo centers on Diddy's own mother. If Deal's narrative were a staircase, this is the step where many listeners hesitate. He alleges Diddy displays an Oedipus-level fixation on Janice Combs, kissing her on the mouth at 50, lavishing her with gifts, yet paradoxically, disrespecting her behind closed doors. Deal even quotes former bad boy president Kirk Burrowes, claiming he once saw Diddy slap her, but the scandal doesn't stop at family drama. Deal further asserts that Janice operated a covert modeling agency that, in reality, supplied women for Puff's infamous parties, events insiders call freak-offs. According to Deal, some of those private tapes include New York power brokers now scrambling as federal probes widen. Mayor Eric Adams's staff shakeups, sudden resignations, and subpoenas have only intensified the rumor mill. Are the dots truly connected, or are we watching unrelated corruption cases converge by coincidence? Deal believes the cameras hold the answer, and that the Southern District won't hesitate to charge anyone caught on film if crimes are confirmed. But how does this cloak and dagger culture creep into Diddy's art? Maybe the answer hides in a platinum album title fans once thought was a harmless metaphor. Back in 2010, Diddy Dirty Money's Last Train to Paris dazzled critics with its Euroglam storyline. Yet former group member Dawn Richard shattered that romance in a 2024 lawsuit, alleging Diddy and several men trained a female assistant poolside in Scotland while staff looked on. Gene Deal seizes on that narrative, suggesting the word train inside the album title was less about a love journey and more an inside joke about group exploitation. He admits he personally only saw 2 guys, 2 girls disappearing into bedrooms, behavior he already found unsettling. Over time, he claims, Puff's boldness escalated until he performed SX acts openly, adrenaline spiked by alcohol and other substances. Deal argues that these power-drunk spectacles weren't spontaneous. They were rituals, tools to bind employees through shame or complicity. If Richard's lawsuit proves true, it paints Last Train to Paris as a sonic veil over something far more sinister. Add up the private jets, the white glove politics, the silent staff, and suddenly Gene Deal's stories sync with prosecutors' language in the RICO. On May 12, 2025, federal prosecutors opened what they call a decades-long SX trafficking and racketeering enterprise investigation into Sean Combs. They allege a pyramid of enablers, pilots, lawyers, security, who moved victims across state lines for coerced acts, then laundered hush money through shell companies. Deal's anecdotes, parked shooters, trunk threats, gold caskets, hush agreements, freak-off tapes, suddenly read like puzzle pieces the feds are struggling to assemble. Whether he's embellishing or exposing, his stories echo key prosecutorial buzzwords: coercion, intimidation, transportation, profit. Even politics has entered the ring. Former President Trump, chasing viral clicks, half-joked about pardoning Diddy, a remark only underlining how monstrously high the stakes have climbed. Meanwhile, more civil suits stack up by the week. Some may collapse under scrutiny, others could nail the coffin shut. So where does that leave Gene Deal, hero, hustler, or haunted witness? We've walked through 8 thunderclaps in Gene Deal's storm of revelations. Some claims track with court evidence, others float on rumor, a few feel like grief-warped memories begging for closure. Yet each, true or false, feeds a larger question. How much darkness can hide in plain sight when the spotlight is fixed on fame and fortune? If Deal fabricated everything, Diddy still faces dozens of unrelated lawsuits that could bankrupt him. If Deal told even half the truth, we may be witnessing the most damning collapse of a hip-hop icon since the genre began. Either way, the jury, literal and public, is still out. Now the torch passes to you. Keep watching the filings, keep cross-checking the timelines, and never treat a single tweet or TikTok as gospel. This drama is bigger than one man or one bodyguard. It's a mirror held to an industry that's thrived on blurred lines for decades. Whatever verdict lands in court, the real judgment will be how fans, artists, and gatekeepers choose to reshape the culture once the smoke clears. Until then, stay curious, stay critical, and remember, every legend has shadows. The question is whether we dare to shine a light.